morning. Coffee Conversations with Greg J is on. How are you today? Everybody good? Everybody good? Good morning, and good morning. Coffee Conversations with Greg J. Got a great show this morning. You know, information seekers, discussion havers, compelling conversations over a cup of coffee or tea or whatever your favorite morning time beverage is. We're here. So the story is this. You heard the announcements for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I know Jay-Z is in there, you know, Tina Turner, all kinds of great artists in there. But we are perplexed. We're concerned. We're actually downright disappointed. We wanted to know the great immortal one, Fela Kuti. He was, having a great showing in the voting. We were very happy that he was nominated, and yet he did not make the cut. How y'all gonna put all these other artists in there and not consider the great one, Fela Kuti? Perplexed, yo. So we're going to talk about it. Reached out to my friend, the great Sandra Izsadore joins us. Good morning.
Good morning, Greg. How are you?
Doing all right. You know, I just wanted to, reach out to you because I know, for the people that don't know, you were exceedingly close to Fela Kuti, and you have a lot to say this morning on why our brother was not inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I just really can't believe it myself. What do you think happened?
Well, it's just I'm disappointed in myself for even believing in America. I saw this happen in 2010 at the Tony Awards when Fela, the Broadway musical, was destined to win Best Musical. Mm-hmm. And that was the year. Every year at the Tony Awards, the critics are allowed to vote. Mm-hmm. But that particular year, they said that the critics couldn't vote. Mm-hmm. And the world has seen now how unfair and fixed these award shows are. So yesterday morning, when I received the news from a writer, Tanisio Sinsima, he called me early in the morning to give me that devastating news. It was crushing because I actually believed that America was going to be fair. But this is the second time America has basically spit and slapped my face to let me know the more things change, the more they remain the same. Fela is too black, too conscious, and it would bring too much attention, I think, to their political agenda of today. So what they should realize that now the world has seen the unfairness of it all because we saw the numbers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's interesting that you say, okay, so America, is it just the American vote that counts towards getting an artist inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, or is it a global affair?
I thought about that, after the fact, because Fela, after all, is a Nigerian man. He is African. Mm-hmm. So I said, is it because he's African? And see, not only is it because he's African, but Fela didn't write about folly. He didn't write about love. He wrote about issues that affected his people. He wrote about things that are real. he wrote about truth. Jay-Z don't do that. Now, I love me some Tina Turner, don't get me wrong, but Tina is not doing that. They're not bringing any form of consciousness to the table. Fela brings consciousness. So I'm very disturbed. And as far as I am concerned, with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I unsubscribed because I thought, well, maybe this is a way that they were using to solicit emails. So I made sure I unsubscribed with them. And hey, middle finger in the air.
Shoot. Yeah. Well, I mean, I've always felt like the music business matrix has always taken messages of consciousness. Most artists with the consciousness messaging, they kind of put that one to the back burner, and they put the ones that are talking, hey, dealing on the corner, robbing, hitting licks, all that kind of stuff. They'll put that one to the forefront before they'll put the voice of consciousness out there. This is what I've just always kind of observed, especially as hip hop has exploded onto the scene. I watched that, front row seat, and no disrespect to my hip hop brothers and sisters, but truth is truth. And so I'm wondering if this is, what you're saying is the powers that be, they don't want that message of consciousness. And I would ask why, especially in such a time as this. We definitely need to hear. I think Fela's messages are just as relevant now as they were back in the day. You think this is conscious, intentional to hold back the conscious message?
Yes, it's intentional. As a matter of fact, I know for a fact that the industry here in America, they had a meeting because back in the 80s, early 80s, late 70s, early 80s, when rap music first came out, rap music was music of consciousness. It made you think. And it also put fear in white executives because it was saying that it had given too much power. I have a relative that is a musical artist, and beautiful songs, conscious songs. And when he was in the studio recording, they said, no, we need you. What you're saying is too positive. We need you to bring in, the violence and the killing and the degrading of women. That was important for them to get that message across. Because, as you know, negativity, a negative message, even if it's the wrong information, will spread a lot faster than uplifting someone's consciousness. And right now, I even see what's happening in Nigeria as an example. One of I would say, the pearl of Africa, because they have the oil, they have the most educated people on the planet. I noticed that what was happening here in America with hip hop has gone over to Africa and inundated it with stupidness. And the youth, the young kids, they don't see the destruction that they're doing to themselves when you make unconscious music. And Greg, any music that I do, it's got to have a message, and it has to have some form of consciousness. My job, and that job of any musician, is to raise consciousness. But, Fela coined a phrase, and his phrase was, use music as a weapon, but it's a weapon for positiveness. America heard him, and they used the music as a message for destruction of our youth. And I know about the killings and the gang violence and all this stupidity over a block.
Right.
They're on the bottom. They don't look at the top.
Right.
There's plenty of room at the top. It's the bottom that is crowded. So people need to learn how to elevate themselves and sing and elevate the positive things in life instead of tearing it down.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know, it's interesting that you mentioned all of this because I definitely see it, and even with the explosion of Afro beats, coming out of Nigeria when they had their protest of "End SARS" because their SARS is a I can't remember what the acronym means, but it's a police unit that is greatly, I guess they're very high level, and they began to shoot to kill out there, and so people were protesting. The hashtag was End SARS, and I noticed a lot of Nigerian artists were protesting and beginning to use their voices in this campaign of End SARS. There was even a little quote unquote beef between Beyonce's mom, Tina Knowles, and Tiwa Savage, the great Nigerian artist, because Tiwa Savage was saying that Beyonce wasn't doing enough to help the Nigerian artists with their cause to end SARS, and Tina is the one who responded to that. But I also know that towards the end of that campaign, it seemed like the government was taking retribution against these artists who use their voices to end SARS. And so, there's something to what you just said where, government institutions are definitely trying to control the messages that we are putting out to the masses of the people. How do we stop that? Do we just keep on going? Do we quit? What's the solution? What do we say to governments that try to control our voices?
Well, for one thing, we need more people thinking. And right now, I realize that the world is full of not people, but sheeple. They're being led to slaughter, and they don't even realize this, Greg. They're buying into whatever the evening news tells them. If the evening news say it's okay, then it's okay. But we need to continue doing what we do, because things that Fela sang about in 1969, 70 are relevant in Nigeria today. Those that didn't hear it are now feeling it because their country is slowly unraveling. And America has had a strong hand in the destruction of Nigeria. Nigerians, what they failed to realize, when I was last in Nigeria in 2015 for Celebration, I'm over there, I'm buying all types of African products. And, I'm a fan collector. So Africans make these beautiful handmade fans. I'm buying them up. And when I'm doing interviews and things there in Africa, they see me with these fans while they have the fans made in China. I have the fans made in Africa, and they're asking me, where did I get it?
Wow.
They have so many. I mean, the fabrics, even their fabrics, woven fabrics. I mean, what's in Africa? The Africans are almost unaware of the jewel and the pearl, that they have. Whereas the Western world is coming in, realizing, hey, you have natural minerals. You have resources that will keep our Western world functioning. So we're going to exploit you. And then what they do, they go in and they find a puppet. They love puppets, like the one that's in power right now in Nigeria. The one that keeps running out of Nigeria. Nigeria has some of the world-renowned doctors and scientists, but none of their heads of state want to go to the hospitals in Nigeria. They go to the Western world. They go to Europe. They go to America. They go anywhere but build their own. What's wrong with that? Here's an oil-producing nation. You produce oil, but you sell your crude to other countries, they refine it and sell it back to you. Just like the British Museum, that they've stolen all of the artifacts from Africa. And if you go over to the Vatican, you'll be very upset. But they've stolen and then turn around and tell the people, oh, we'll loan your stuff back to you. So when you are an artist and you're singing about things like this, like M. Josh is one of those, I would say he's the baby fella of today. He had the nerve to write a song, several songs, and guess what the government did to him? He was threatened. So now the man is living in exile for singing and telling the truth. But if you look at our story and his story, then you will find that people that brought forth truth, and those that wanted to do positive change for the masses and raise the consciousness, those people were murdered, destroyed, dismantled. So until we remove greed and this selfishness and taking and destruction that's going on in the world, like look at what's happening in the Middle East right now. You know, it's really sad to say. So when you're an artist and you're bringing forth truth, it's almost like we must destroy you or tear you down. The same thing that happened with Fela on Broadway. And, you know, I was very vocal about it. And also the critics were very vocal about it. And here, once again, with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame farce, because we saw the numbers.
You know, it's interesting. I hadn't really contemplated that when I was getting ready for this presentation, just kind of thinking about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame situation. I really hadn't thought about when, you know, the Broadway play came out. You're right. It got snubbed in the award season time, you know, and it just points to all of these awards, all of these honors. You know, the Grammys are going through a situation where people are beginning to question the process. The Golden Globes, even NBC is boycotting the Golden Globes because the press club that puts that on, the Hollywood International Press, whatever their organization is, they have no Black members. So, you know, they're getting canceled by the major networks. I mean, people look at the Tonys, people look at the Golden Globes, and all of these different awards and honors are becoming suspect because of processes. And I suspect that I guess the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is the same. Now, what do you know, it's interesting too. There was a Clubhouse chat, was that last night or night before last, where somebody actually did an adaptation of the music from the Broadway play. So it shows you that people are still influenced and greatly inspired by that Broadway presentation, and it should have won some awards. Maybe it's time to bring it back. You know, what can be done to change the processes and the standards that all of these different awards institutions have been operating under?
Well, you know, what I think is that Black people and people of color, not just Blacks, but people of color need to come together and create their own award shows. We need to stop buying into this American BS. I'm an American. I'm truly an ADOS, but I see it in front of my face. And, you know, I'm at this point now where I don't trust America because I have seen how they play the game, and their game is unfair. The level, they've never had a level playing field. It's always like this. We have to keep ourselves up here. We keep them down by any means necessary. That's what they do. I'm quoting Malcolm on that. But by any means necessary, we need to bring forth truth. And for some reason, people have a problem with the truth.
Yeah. It's there's a lot to that right there, Sandra. Before I go on, let me just apologize, y'all, if you're seeing this delay of sorts. That's inside of our platform. We don't know what's really going on, but we just said, hey, the show must go on because we want to talk about this stuff. So, we apologize for the visual delay, but you certainly, even after this, you can listen to us and then also just grab the podcast and spread that around to your friends if you find it's our conversation is worth your share. Yeah. It's interesting that you say that, Sandra, because, as we're in such a time as this, where our voices are raised against systemic racism, against social injustice, it's a cultural revolution that we are right in the middle of. And our voices have been silenced, and we've been able to pinpoint and show hit points in history where our voices have been silenced. Anybody who will say, oh, no, that didn't happen, can't really say that anymore because the proof is right there in front of your face. What would you say to those who say, okay, like Black folks, we create our own, our own award show. It took a long time for BET Awards to recognize Afrobeats music. So what makes you think that we will do our own music justice?
Well, when we bring forth consciousness, when we bring more conscious people forward and stop celebrating stupidity and degrading our people and our culture and elevating negativity, when that stops, then we can move forward. We need to move forward with the truth. Think about it. What kind of leaders do we have if all they want to deal with is falsehoods and pacification? I'd rather deal with the truth any day than to deal with a lie. And what I've been seeing is they fan the fire of the lie, and whoever has the most money. And usually those that have money, if you study his story, and not our story, but his story, if you study his story, you will find that most of the riches were gotten through ill-gotten gains.
Wherever he has gone, that's right. Wherever he has been, then yes, the riches have been taken, raped, subjugated, wherever he's gone.
Okay, and then, everybody wants to celebrate, or they talk about, and I might be held to the cross for this, the Queen of England. Okay, from what I know about England, England has stolen from every nation. England stole, and all their riches, even Europe, I'll just say Europe, they stole. All of them. They went over to Africa, they stole. They went to Asia, they stole. They went to India. Well, India is part of Asia. They stole. And then after stealing all these things, they have what they call monarchs. Well, to me, they're not monarchs. They live on welfare. They've been on welfare. And the biggest welfare queen of all is the Queen of England. Now I said it.
Well, that's really deep. Earlier this week, we had coffee conversation. We were talking about the Zulu kingdom. And what I wanted to share with that story was that, we're getting bombarded all the time about the royals in Britain. Every time you turn on the TV, the headlines are inundated with what these people, the Queen of England, the family, the royal family in England, what they are doing, what they're saying, all of that. And I said, well, hey, did you know? I'm asking the people, did you know that the king of the Zulus passed away? Then his queen took over as regent, and then within a month she passed away, and there was a lot of controversy and everything like that. And I just wanted to share with my people that, hey, we have royal families all across the continent of Africa. But in that conversation, exactly what you said, some of my friends over in Africa were like, yeah, but we're not really feeling the royals because they're living off of our taxes. And so you're right. They're like the welfare people, it's interesting, interesting. But do you think that even at that, are Black nations mimicking what they see in Europe by paying the royals through taxes or a form of welfare, as you've described?
Let me tell you something. What the Western world has done, when they went to Africa historically, and they saw the riches of Africa, and they saw the humbleness of the African people, because we didn't have to fight. We didn't have to struggle. We were not living in caves. We didn't have to fight for meat. I mean, there's abundance all around us. And even you see that today. Any Black country or country of color that you go to, food is everywhere. It's in abundance. But Europe, you got a cold, barren land. And that kill and that take, that's all negative. I mean, just look at it from the raw and tell the truth about it. They are living off of stolen riches, And I remember when I went to the Vatican and when I saw all of the riches there that have been stolen from around the world, and these people are celebrating, oh, this is the Vatican, oh, the Queen of England, and I see all of these things. I'm like, you're murderers and thieves. And Fela wrote songs like that. He told the truth. He told the truth about his own corrupt government that's still corrupt today. As a matter of fact, I just got information, last month, their so-called political ruler, because he's not a leader, he couldn't lead his way out of anything, but their old ruler over there went to England, and the doctors there have already said he's unfit to be in that position of power. But when you have a puppet in place, and there's things that the Western world needs, they will create chaos in your country. And I might add, America has gone through some changes, okay? We went through 4 years with number 45.
Yeah.
Yes, they were tumultuous.
Yeah.
And then, but he was real. He was raw. He was real. And then look at where we are today with the man in power here. Gas prices are skyrocketing. Food is skyrocketing. More and more people have become homeless. And then our borders are wide open now. So I read where they caught a few terrorists. But if you caught some, how many got through? You didn't get them all. And South America dumping there, or you say Mexico or whatever, Central America, dumping. I mean, what kind of person dumps their child? Are these children being kidnapped? And are you being so inundated and distracted with human trafficking that now the drugs can come through freely? What kind of head do we have now? I felt better under the last administration than I do under this man that wrote laws that my people are still suffering from today. And when I tried to say something and I talked about the good, the few good things that 45 did, then they're going to get mad at me. But look at us now.
Well, that's a very interesting. That's probably a conversation you and I should have on another broadcast, because I know your perspectives, and I followed you all along, and yeah, okay, that's worth the conversation. So, all right, so circling back to Fela Kuti, though. Okay, so all of the things that you just mentioned, yes, and amen. Okay, there's all this stuff going on. The artists, as you have the right to speak out on your perspectives on consciousness, on love and peace among the people, why are voices, who is that artist right now that is making the biggest impact, speaking from a conscious perspective?
You mean right now, the biggest one I know is Josh. He's talking about his country, and because he's talking about his country and telling the truth. He's in exile here in America.
Exiled him? Did the government exile him?
Yeah, well, they threatened his life. They're going to kill him for speaking the truth. I believe in speaking truth to power. When you start speaking truth, people don't want to be around you. They want to distance themselves from you. They rather live in denial with the lie than speak truth to power. They are afraid. Look at what's happening now. Now, when it comes to America, I'm thinking of some of our artists that I happen to like, that I'd be like, yeah. Nas is one. Most Def. I'm trying to think of, there's another artist, I can't think of his name right now, but he's really good. He speaks truth. But
it's interesting, Sandra. I saw the Grammy Awards, right? And I know that they celebrated the artist Her, has a lot of conscious music out there. Almost everything that she's done, certainly in the last year, has had a very strong conscious message. They awarded her with the Grammy Award, but then at the same time, while they were celebrating all of the social consciousness in the telecast, I feel like, and this is my opinion, y'all, we've talked about it before on this show, I just feel like, when they showed Cardi B and the other girl, Megan Thee Stallion, I just felt like they were saying, okay, yes, they have a social conscious voice, and we acknowledge that, but they are hypersexualized and crazy. And look, this is what I see, in their women. And this is. I feel like it was just a way to denigrate our culture. That's how I feel about it when I watch it. And people say, well, maybe I'm too old or whatever. I think I'm pretty open-minded and everything, and I've been in the industry long enough to see what I see. So I said what I said. What do you think?
You didn't lie. You did not lie. You told the truth. Sure enough, I love me some Cardi B. But I love her for her realness, And I can't speak on Megan Thee Stallion because I've never, I just know that my designer was talking about Megan Thee Stallion. I'm like, well, who is she? But
right. Yeah.
Cardi B, I know about, and the only reason how come I know about Cardi B is because my husband, Byron McNeish, is an audio engineer for Cardi's husband. And that's how I found out about her. But I heard her speak, and she's conscious, and I'm not downing her. The girl, if you have little education, she's smart, because she took what she had and look at where she is now. She's a multi-millionaire. But true. At the same time, if you don't have the intelligence to invest your money properly, I'm going to quote 1 Timothy 6. A fool and their money are soon parted.
Mm-hmm.
But I love this young girl, and Megan Thee Stallion. They've come from the bottom to the top. It's just like rap music.
Mm-hmm.
When rap music first came out, they couldn't go through the front door. So those young Black men figured out a way how to get there. They got there, and then after getting there, they didn't know what to do. And then, they started destroying their own community, their own people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the part I don't like.
Mm-hmm.
But I know Ice Cube a long time ago, he said, America's going to tear herself up from the inside out. And that's exactly what's happening.
Yeah, he did say that, didn't he? Yes.
Yes, he did.
Wow. So now, so is it time now for the artists, the music industry what corrections can they make? I mean, I think the industry has tried to do some corrections. I think they're, certainly making more diverse, what do they call it? Diversity, equity, and inclusion moves and all of that there. But, how do we, is it that we don't vote is why we see things like what happened to Fela? As you even look at the Grammy Awards, you see some of our categories, you wondered why did they win? Is it because we don't participate? I mean, what is the deal? What's at the center of all of this outside of the supremacy? Okay, we know that. All right, but what about,
we are excluded, Greg, we are excluded by the gatekeepers. And I know, because you've been in corporate America, you've worked in corporate America, that they will, right now we're going through a pacification period. And that pacification period that we're going through is because of George Floyd, may God rest his soul. It's because of the George Floyds and the Rodney Kings and the Emmett Tills, that America's, we got to fix things. So we got to pacify them. So all of a sudden, we're going to give them jobs. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. It's the same old cycle. The cycle hasn't been broken. Mm-hmm. It's up to us. Mm-hmm. I think we should create our own. We have enough Black multimillionaires that can come together and we can create our own. But instead, our people need to be a little bit more like Donald Trump. Mm-hmm. When Trump came into power, Trump let us know who he was, but he put all of his people in place. Mm-hmm. And you might add, don't forget all them rappers that were singing about Donald Trump. If you check it out and check our story, you'll find they were celebrating Donald Trump. And I even remember Nene Leakes talking about she got Trump money. But when Trump needed them, they were nowhere to be found. Okay? Mm-hmm. I don't hate Donald Trump. Yeah, he's rough. He's rough. But he looked out for his people. Mm-hmm. That's what Donald Trump did. Mm-hmm. But we have a tendency, when I say we, people of color, especially Black people, we're going to be all kumbaya. We're going to show that we are loving and we're giving. And every time we do this, we get kicked in our behind. Let's look at the truth. Look at his story, and then look at our story in his story. And then you will see that their foot has been on our neck for the longest. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right.
Malcolm said it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so now in the case of Fela Kuti, you say start our own. So I know that there's I think it's called the National Black Music Museum in Nashville, or it's the R&B Music or R&B Hall of Fame. I'm sorry if I'm butchering the name of the museum, but I know after a long, hard
It's okay. Go ahead and butcher it.
It's coming.
Go ahead and butcher it.
is coming down in Nashville. Will we support it to the levels of a rock and roll museum, a rock and roll hall of fame?
It's a rock and roll hall of shame. Okay, it's a hall of shame because I've seen their trickery. They've shown the entire world that they're not honest. Mm-hmm. And if once a person, Maya Angelou, once a person show you who they are, believe them. The Rock and Roll Hall of Shame ain't about nothing. Fela is bigger than that. Okay. Yes, I'm angry. I'm angry with myself for even believing that America was going to be honest. America ain't honest.
All right, let me ask you this. Does he get another chance to get in? Or is that it?
I don't know if he has another chance of getting in or not. Right now, I got my middle finger in the air and I'm waving it. Just like I don't care.
That's right. Yeah. So, wow. What does the family say? I know he's got a couple sons out there who are superstars in their own right. So grandsons out there who are coming up and everything. Have you heard from the family? What do they say about this snub? Well,
I haven't really spoke to the family, but I know Yenny is disappointed. Mm-hmm. I know Femi is disappointed. Mm-hmm. I know Kunle is disappointed. I know Sheun is disappointed. And I know that Motu is disappointed. And now I'm sure the grandson, Made, I'm sure he's disappointed as well. Mm-hmm. I am disappointed and I'm angry at America. First of all, I was surprised when Fela was nominated for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because, because first of all, it ain't rock and roll. It's a genre of music called Afrobeat. Okay. And I'm stuck over here. I love Afrobeat and I love Afrobeats. Afrobeats is where they have, the young Nigerians have come and put together mechanical beats and rhythms, and most of them have that boom chicka boom, and I love that boom chicka boom.
That's right.
Yeah. You know, as a matter of fact, I even just recently released a track with entitled "Stepping Away," right? Which is Afro beats, you know. Yeah. But you know, first of all, Afrobeat Fela was a composer. He charted and wrote his own music. Now,
how many horns in a Fela Kuti band? That always trips me out when I watch.
Okay, let's see. He had the baritone sax, the tenor sax, trumpet. I'm trying to think. He usually has about 5 or 6 horns.
Oh, it's more than that on the stage, though. It's like a lot of people, you know. And I did an Afrobeat show one time, and I was trying to figure out. I mean, it was great. It was excellent. Don't get me wrong. But I was trying to figure out why the horns didn't sound as meaty as the record, right? And then I had to go back to the videos and go, okay, because Fela got like 20 horns up there, man. It's like really, really something else, you know.
I'm telling you, touring with Fela was, oh my goodness. I feel like I'm so blessed because to have been able to tour with him, and my husband did sound for Fela. Mm-hmm. That was the best tour. I mean, when you're on tour, when you would go into a hotel and it's like a whole village of people moved into that hotel because it would be anywhere from 50 to 70 people traveling with Fela, but that was back in the good old days. Okay.
Right. Wow.
Now they've cut that down, but then, Fela, just like Bob Marley, they weren't in it for money. They were in it for change. for elevation. But most of these artists today, they're chasing the money. And because they're chasing the money, they're slaves. They're what I call young slaves, because if the company says, oh, you can't say this, you can't sing, they're going to do what the company says. You know, they're slaves. They're modern day slaves.
Yeah. Interesting stuff. What's your favorite Fela Kuti record?
Oh, you can't ask me that, because I like them all. Colonial Mentality, VIP. Most of the music that I like, or the ones that grab me the most, is the music that was created with Nigeria 70, but also with Africa 70 and Africa 70 and Egypt 80. Now with Egypt 80, when Fela, by then Tony Allen wasn't with him, but the song that comes to mind is Just Like That. And what happened yesterday is a clear example of Just Like That. They ripped Fela off just like that.
I like Opposite People.
Oh, I love Opposite People.
Yeah, I love that one.
Wait a minute. Alabang clothes, expensive shit.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yes.
I mean, wait a minute. Yellow Fever.
Yeah, Yellow Fever, yes.
Okay. I mean, this music is classic.
It really is.
This music is classic. It doesn't grow old.
Yeah.
And now America is just now catching up. You know, I have to commend Steve Hindell, you know, who brought Fela to Broadway, and he upset Broadway. As a matter of fact, he turned Broadway topsy-turvy. So, you know, kudos to Steve Hindell.
Let me ask you a question about Fela Kuti tracks. You know, I'm putting my radio man hat on right now. His songs are like 50, every song is like 15 minutes, 20 minutes. What? I mean, can a brother get a radio edit?
You know, they tried to do that with Fela. As a matter of fact, they came to Fela. As a matter of fact, it was Motown that came to Fela and offered him a few million and asked him to cut his songs down. And Fela said, no, I'm not going to do it. And I don't blame him. That's because the music, you know, music it's like a process. And one of the things that I know about Fela's music, he keeps it simple, because most of your people that support you, they're not musicians. They just know that they got a groove and a beat, and they like that groove and they like that beat.
Yeah.
Whereas real, you know, like musicians, a lot of musicians, what they want to do is do 4 or 5 changes in a song. To me, personally, that sucks. Give me two grooves, especially if I'm dancing, because if you like to dance, you don't want to keep getting confused about what foot to stick out there first. Yeah. You know, because of someone else. No, music should be a groove. You know, you should get caught up in it. And not only should you get caught up in it, but music should grab you. And while it's grabbing you, it needs to teach you a little something. You know,
if you try to shorten those songs, you know, you're wanting for more. It just doesn't work. You can't edit his music. It's just too priceless. Those compositions are just too priceless.
Let me tell you something. I had the privilege of being in the nightclub at the shrine, at Fela's shrine in Nigeria. And people, I mean, the dancing, and I mean, you have people coming from all over the world to come and hear this man.
Mhm.
You know, Stevie Wonder, Paul McCartney, James Brown, you name it. They were coming to see, what is this music about?
Mhm.
You know, I mean, it's unlike any other music.
Mhm.
And the way he brings, you know, he might start off bass, you know, and then, you know, he'll give you a little groove on that, and then he'll bring something else in it. He just layers his music. I mean, it's beautiful. It's just beautiful music.
It really is, you know. And now let me ask you, does he read music, or is he conducting his band from ear by ear?
Ooh. No, he's a musician.
Yeah.
Fela writes.
Mhm.
Fela wrote. He charted all of his music.
Mhm.
He charts. He composes. He writes. I used to watch him when Fela was here in Los Angeles. I remember one day we were in the car driving, and the rain was coming down, and the wipers, you know, the wipers going back and forth on the car.
Mhm. Mhm.
It had a rhythm. And Fela was like, he started, you know, he was hearing music in everything.
Mhm.
And I
Mhm.
remember one day we were in Hollywood, and Nishiram Shoshu, Namyoho Renge Kyo,
Yes.
they invited us to one of their meetings. So we went. And when they started the chant, Fela was in there like, whoa, listen to this.
Right.
And
Right.
music would come out of everything. That was Fela. He heard music all around him.
Mhm.
And if
Mhm.
you pay attention, you know, the average, but you know, you have to be in tune to yourself and in tune to your universe,
Mhm.
that guide, you know, that universal guide that I call God. That's God to
That's right.
me.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, when we can connect to what is around us as one, when you hear the birds, when you hear the cars, when you hear the rain, when you hear things falling, all of that is music. And that's
Mhm.
how Fela created. And I guess the ability to do that was not only that he was learned, he studied, he was a graduate of Trinity College,
Mhm.
and maybe he had that gift. You know, some people can play things by ear, but he grew up in a musical family because his
Mhm.
father was a musician as well as a Christian minister. And his
Mhm.
mother was a school teacher and political leader.
Mhm. 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 And now the government killed his mom. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's true. And Fela sings about that. I believe that was one of the raids on his house, Calicuta show. And then he did Coffin for Head of State. When
Mhm.
he took the coffin to the Dodon barracks and gave it to the government. So
Mhm.
Fela was very controversial. Alabama Clothes is about him being in the prison.
Mhm.
Yellow Fever is about the women bleaching their skin.
Yes.
Expensive Shit is about a court case where they were trying to put him in prison for 10 years.
Mhm.
So, I mean, these are all true stories, you
Yeah.
know, when you, and then he wrote the song Upside Down for me,
Mhm.
which
Ah.
is a classic. Yeah, he wrote that song for me. And Upside Down, Africa, Nigeria is still upside down. Okay?
Mhm. Mhm.
The African people have not, especially Nigerian people, they don't appreciate themselves. They do not love themselves. But you know what? That same problem is here in America. You
Mhm.
know, it's too few of us that don't love ourselves.
Mhm.
And I want to thank those Kardashian girls because they love us. You know, they're
Mhm.
going and get lip injections, butt implants, things that black women didn't, you know, they didn't want no part of. They're laying out in the sun trying to get darker, and we buying bleaching cream. What's wrong with that picture?
Yeah. That's a big deal, isn't it? The bleaching cream situation. I know there was a story. I'm trying to figure out if that really is Serena in these pictures where she bleached herself, and everybody
you
is.
know what? I want to believe that they edited that was an edit.
Yeah.
I would hate to think that Serena Williams is beautiful and black. I mean, a beautiful black woman would bleach her skin. But then again, I'm not surprised because, I mean, a lot of black women, they you have to realize that our image of beauty, the beauty image that had been portrayed to us was white woman, blue eyes, straight hair. They did it with Jesus. They did it with everything. They did not want to tell us the truth about ourselves. But me, I've always been that little black girl, that little nappy-headed black girl, okay? But one thing that I can say, I do like, when my hair started turning gray, I said I might as well roll with it and let's bleach it even further.
Me too. Wow.
And you see, I love my kinky, nappy hair. And as far as I'm concerned, my lips aren't big enough. I want bigger lips.
Bigger lips?
But this is what, look at, when you look at our black men have these big old juicy lips. They don't have this. A slit in their face. Because basically, that's what white men have. They got a slit in their face. But our men have these big old juicy lips. And that black skin, I love that. I love us.
Yes,
but it's not enough people knowing how to love themselves and emulate the beauty that is within them,
Another song I like we haven't mentioned is, what is it? Teacher, Don't Teach Me No Nonsense. That's that's a big one.
Yes, and it's so true. Fela was real.
Yeah.
He was real, and he was probably too real for the Hall of Shame, the Rock and Roll Hall of Shame, because ain't nothing famous about it, okay?
Wow.
It's a farce. Don't drop a dime in my box on them.
Yes,
they're thieves. And anybody that didn't see that, but why be surprised? They did it at the Tony Awards, the Oscars, you name it.
I got to go. We're running out of time here, but I'm loving this conversation. I always love to talk to you anyway. When we just try to pull some things together, we get into really great conversations. But I want to ask you a question. So, Burna Boy, right? Finally won his Grammy and everything. He's like the flavor of the moment coming out of Nigeria and everything. But I saw some stories over in Nigeria where some of the music OGs were saying that he was actually stealing his beats from Fela Kuti and not giving Fela proper credit for influencing what Burna Boy is doing nowadays. Do you know about that story? And if so,
and
what do you think?
That is so not true. Burna Boy is always bigging up Fela. T.Y. Savage, WizKid, they all know the root, and they all acknowledge the root. That's not true, Greg. That is not true. And I love me some Burna Boy too. Okay, because like I said, they be bringing that boom chicka boom, and I love the boom chicka boom.
Yeah. I love that. I love that guy. I went to his show when he was here in LA at the Wiltern Theater. Boy, that booger was hot.
Burna Boy ain't no joke. I'm telling you, if American mainstream ever decide to start pushing Nigerian artists in their rotation, they're going to take the music scene over. Because I'm telling you, the Nigerians, the Africans, they're the baddest. Okay,
You
they're
know,
the baddest.
it's I'm glad to see, what they call it Afrobeats with an S, different from Afrobeat, which is Fela Kuti. But I'm glad to see that it is enjoying such popularity here in the United States. The young people are really driving that popularity. The internet is global. Whenever you're on, online, it's a global perspective, and this is how this music is being discovered, and all of that. I would love to see Black radio stations embrace the music a lot more, and really reinforce this bridge of music, arts, and culture that's being built right now. And what is the hesitation of Black radio to embrace contemporary African music?
I would say it would begin with the program director. I don't know who's above the program director, but see, the program director is there to direct the mindset of the masses. And if you repeat a thing over and over again, it's a form of brainwashing. Just like all those people that are stuck in front of the TV getting educated by the tell-lie vision. Did I answer your question for you?
You did answer very much so, Sandra Izsadore. It's really interesting because also too, it points to us having to tell our own story, and what's coming to mind right now is, we have a podcast, Afro Pop Radio, and the feedback that we get from the listeners is, they're getting educated on this music. We do play mostly Afro beats, but we also focus on other genres of music that are contemporary over in Africa. We talked about the Zulus a little earlier. So a popular music form down there, over there, is called Maskandi, and it's actually really cool. Got some great rhythms inside of there. But on and on and on, all across the continent, contemporary African music. But we have to teach our people in America, about this music, what it means, because once they're exposed to the rhythms, they say, "Oh shoot, it's all the cracking, and so that's what's up. Yeah, here's the realest girl.
When we have young artists, when we have these young Nigerian artists that are natural immigrants here in this country, and when we have what I'm seeing a lot of now is first generation born Nigerian children, where that they have assimilated with the American ADOS children. They hardcore. They had a club, before all this shutdown and craziness, called the Savoy, and there's this one promoter, Peter Lentini. He was bringing the Africans, the Caribbeans, the African Americans, the Latinos. He was bringing us all together with this music. And now everything's shut down. And I think, sometimes I think it's a conspiracy, because I think we were becoming too much integrated here and together, that it almost seemed like for me, the way I look at things is differently. I see this whole shutdown as a global reset for this new world order. Okay, but we won't even go into that. I won't start stepping on folks' toes over there.
That's a whole other show right there. But I know about the Savoy, and I know him bringing Africa over there. Jonathan DeVoe, shout out to you. I know you come through and watch the show every now and again. Good guy. Been knowing him a long time, since Bistro 880. And when he began to bring the African music over there, I remember just saying, "Man, you don't even really know the level of the star, you bring it through there, but Peter Lentini, shout out to you. Yes, my brother. Wait,
don't forget the Ankara Festival. Shout out to the Ankara Festival, the big fashion show, the African fashion show, which I was loving going to. But This
Well, it'll come back. We're gonna make some stuff happen. You know,
I
it'll
certainly
come.
hope so.
Yeah, yep. Here's the realest girl saying that, hey, really expected them to add Fela and she planned to attend the ceremony and visit the museum. Oh, well. Well, what are we going to do next? We just got to keep promoting this music, keep linking ourselves back to, Mother Africa. Check out the music. Check out, you heard a lot of great names here. The Ankara Festival. Go online, see what they're doing right now. And I'll make a shameless plug. Listen to our Afro Pop Radio, and wherever you get your favorite podcast. And it's interesting, Sandra. With my podcast, Afro Pop Radio, when I began to travel to Africa, years ago on a regular basis. Of course, I was listening to the radio. I'm a radio person. I was establishing relationships with program directors, record companies, and all that. I'm hearing this music over there. I'm like, wow, my people in America, we need to hear this, And that's really the genesis of my podcast, which is the Afro Pop Radio. But what's starting to happen slowly but surely, there's program directors out there who understand that this music is viable. It's dope as all get out, and they're trying to figure out where to place it and everything. I would like to just let you know we are heard over at DC Radio, dcradio.com in Washington, DC. Shout out to Max Myrick for listening to, the music and going, wow, this needs to be on the airwaves. And so we were really happy about that. We're starting to, look at like, HBCUs that have radio stations, beginning to try to place the programming there, because you know what, it has a fit in Black radio to me, and the programmers just have to figure it out. You're right. The program, it's all on the program directors. You guys got to figure out where that booger is, and include more music from the continent into your playlist. Yeah. All right, Sandra Izsadore, what's next for you? Tell us, where's the music? Where can we get a hold of you? What it do? Uh-oh, I can't hear you. Sandra, I think so. Sandra, I'm having a problem hearing you there. Well, I don't know what happened. I can't hear you. Well, this is what we're going to do. Check it out. Uh, I'm going to put your information on our website and everything like that. Put some songs out there for the people to hear. We just ran out of sound. It looks like. Oh wait, what you got? What you got? You changing up? Yeah. Let's see what happens. Okay. You can hear me, right? Can't hear you. Can't hear you. Can't hear you. I don't know. Well, look, it's all good. We had a great conversation on today. You know, we want you all to just, I'm sorry we couldn't hear that last part there, but um, we're just going to go ahead and sign off right here and just catch you all on the flip side. You can get Coffee Conversations with Greg J on our Facebook page. You can also do, of course, you can hear. Yep, we're at the end, Lynette. Yes, we are. Get us up Coffee Conversations. Join our page, like our page. We got a lot going on here. Next Tuesday, we're going to continue our conversation about the Zulu Kingdom. We got some professors and that coming on at your request. I saw that you guys really wanted to hear from some academics with regard to Zulu Kingdom royalty. And, it is an interesting conversation. We got some future conversations. We're going to talk about that cryptocurrency coming up. We're going to talk about a lot of different things. Juneteenth is coming up. Africa Day is coming up. We've got so many things to go on. And, we're going to really, really check it out. Okay, so Coffee Conversations with Greg J, beachcityradio.com. And the audio version all on wherever you get your favorite podcast, iHeart, Apple, Spreaker, Spotify. Just go ahead, Google it, Coffee Conversations with Greg J. Check out Sandra Izsadore on her Facebook page. We're going to put some music up too. We try to do it at the end because they try to mute us out. Probably some of those powers that Sandra's talking about. We too black, too strong on Coffee Conversations with Greg J. But we can put up some music right there inside of Coffee Conversations with Greg J. All right, y'all. Remember, love one another. Love one another. Love one another. Peace and blessings.